o'clock in the morning. I want to wish everyone a howdy from here in Texas. I want to call this meeting to order with, we're going to have a moment of silence, an invocation by Randy McGregor, and then we're going to have the two pledges of allegiance, both to the United States flag and the Texas flag. So if everyone would please rise.
If you will, please bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet today. Lord, we just lift up these leaders. Lord, I pray for wisdom for them. Lord, I ask that the discussions today, Lord, be productive. Lord, I pray that the decisions made will be honorable to you. And Lord, I just ask that you guide all of us this day. Lord, I ask for your protective hand to watch over our first responders, guide them each day. Lord, keep them out of harm's way. And Lord, I pray too that once this business is conducted today, you just provide safe travels for everyone home. All these things we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Yep. I stopped. Yeah. Thank you, and we'll move on to agenda item number 2.
Roll call for a quorum and to excuse commissioner absences, if any. Commissioner Buford? Here. Commissioner Cantu has officially left this commission to serve on the Veterans Commission. He's going to be replaced with Mr. Enrique Mata, but he will not be serving until the next meeting. Commissioner Coatney? Here. Commissioner DeVillis?
Here.
Commissioner Frieda?
Here.
Chairman Glenn?
Here.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Mallinger?
Here.
Commissioner Morgan is here. Commissioner Ortega is absent.
It's an excused absence for funeral for a colleague.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Wade.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Morgan. We have a quorum. And I would like to just offer up about Commissioner Cantu. It was been great serving with him. He'd been a tremendous addition after he was appointed by the governor on this board. He offered some thoughtful commentary, some pearls of wisdom along the way. And with his military background, while he never served as a firefighter and was not in the fire service, he really seemed to take in what we do and apply his background and just his experiences, and as he could apply them to the fire service. So I know he's going to do a great job there on the Veterans Commission, but he's going to be sorely missed here with TCFP, and we look forward to, Commissioner Mata being sworn in. So,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Vote to excuse Commissioner Ortega.
We would, yes, that's a good idea. Entertain a motion to excuse Commissioner Ortega for his funeral he's at today.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Coatney. Looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wade. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Show up unanimous. Let's move on to agenda item number 3.
Approved commission meeting minutes for the May 14th, 2026 meeting.
Commissioners, the meeting minutes from May 14th were in your packet. Everyone should have had a chance to review them. Is there any corrections or edits that need to be made that you saw? Seeing no one raising their hand, I would entertain a motion to approve the commission meeting minutes from May 14th, 2026.
Motion to approve Malliner. Second, Coatney.
Motion by Commissioner Malliner, second by Vice Chair Coatney. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Passes unanimously. Let's move on to agenda item number 4.
Reports from fire service interest groups and agencies on matters relating to their specific organizational purposes, functions, activities, and objectives, including reports from TEACS, the Texas Fire Chiefs Association, the Texas State Association of Firefighters, the State Firefighters and Fire Marshals Association of Texas, the Texas Fire Marshals Association, the Texas Association of Fire Educators, the Texas A&M Forest Service, the National Fire Protection Association, the Texas State Association of Fire and Emergency Districts, the Center for Public Safety Excellence, the State Fire Marshal's Office, the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, and the Firefighter Cancer Support Network.
And you're ready to go?
Got in line. Good morning, Commissioners. TCFP Leadership. I'm Chris Anger, Division Director with the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service. My report to you this morning, a few items. House Bill 2128, we've talked about this before. When I reported to you last, I told you that we had received about 624 responses to that survey that we sent out back in March. We actually received 576 complete surveys, and we're in the process right now. We're working with our data analyst at TEEX to compile that final report for Legislative Representative Spiller's office, and we'll have that ready to go. We're hoping to have that in their hands in November. I'm supposed to have that in Director Coatney's office before the middle of October, so we're working on that right now. We met, and we've got a good report that we're putting together, and we believe that we're going to be able to help with some decisions that need to be made with regards to the data that we collected. We also, the Board of Regents with Texas A&M University met back in May. We were trying to secure funding for a Fathom Swiftwater training prop, and they actually gave us approval for that funding, and we're looking to start construction on that prop sometime this fall. So we're pretty excited about that, especially in light of the flooding that we've seen last year in Kerrville and again this year as well. We also have the Texas Fire Service Hall of Honor nomination process that's going on right now. That completed on August the 7th. We have 11 nominees that are going to be considered this year. That's in the hands of the selection committee right now. The matrix is being completed, and we should have a decision on that here within the next month or so. And then those awards will be given at the January 2027 TEEX Leadership Development Symposium that will be held in the Woodlands this year. Lastly, the last thing I want to talk to you about is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, called DARPA. They had a big event out at our Disaster City complex back in March, and what they have is called the Triage Challenge event. And what they're going to do, this event focuses on the specific aspect of using advanced technology to improve medical triage, from real-world robotic assessment to predicting a patient's needs using data. And so all of that, boil that down, we're using robots and drones, and they're doing patient assessments and triage. And what they're going to do is we have 12 teams that will be in Disaster City in the month of November. And out of those 12 teams, 2 will get to advance to the championship. And the winner of all of that will get a $3 million prize. And we will have some pretty big names like Secretary Hegseth and other folks that are going to be there to see the championship that occurs in November. So just want to throw that out there. There's some neat things that are happening at TEEX, and we're working with some big players to try to advance technology in the military and in the fire service as well. I'm open to your questions. Thank you.
Texas Fire Chiefs Association.
Good morning. Distinguished Commissioners, Firefighter Advisory Committee members, Agency Chief Wisco, Council, TCFP staff, and all of our guests. My name's Dave Parker, and I serve as the current president of the Texas Fire Chiefs Association. Thank you for the opportunity to provide a brief update on TFCA's continued growth, our expanding work to support professional development and leadership across Texas, across the Texas Fire Service, and across the nation. In recent years, TFCA has expanded its membership and reach, increasing from 724 members in 2022 to 1,890 members at present. The momentum reflects the value fire service leaders across Texas place on a strong professional network, practical leadership development, and access to resources that address the challenges facing today's departments. These numbers have also strengthened our voice on issues important to the Texas Fire Service in both the state and national levels. With this broad membership engagement, TFCA is better positioned to bring together fire chiefs, command staff, administrative professionals, and emergency leaders from departments and communities throughout the state. Our growth is reflected not only in participation, but also in additional events, education programs, and professional development opportunities we now provide. In just the past 2 years, TFCA has introduced the Battalion Chiefs Academy and the Company Officers Academy, while also expanding the Second in Command Symposium and starting next year, transforming the Administrative Professionals Academy, or I should say Symposium, into an academy. These programs help fire service professionals at different stages of their careers strengthen their skills, build professional relationships, and exchange best practices. While TFCA can help represent, connect, and support fire service leaders, across the state, we very much recognize that our work is most meaningful when it is aligned with the leadership, standards, and mission of the Texas Commission on Fire Protection. I stand before you here today to acknowledge that the value our association places on its relationship with the Commission and our continued commitment to a strong, trusted, and collaborative partnership. I stand ready for any questions you may have. Otherwise, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Texas State Association of Firefighters. I
Good
guess
morning. Good morning,
the
commissioners.
State Firefighters and Fire Marshals Association of Texas.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good morning, commissioners, Chairman Glenn, and Chief Wisco, and members of the fire service community. Thank you for this opportunity to provide an update on behalf of SFMA. I'm Cherry K. Abel, their executive director. We have since we've seen you since last quarter, we've increased our membership, so we're very happy about that from last year. Certification remains a main focus of SFMA. We continue supporting the certification board in the NFPA transition process, and we are monitoring the commissioner certification testing and curriculum related agency agenda items, and recent discussions with manual updates and related certification standards. From a legislative regulatory standpoint, we continue outreach and relationship building efforts with partner organizations and local departments and governmental stakeholders. We will continue monitoring the main impact training certification, firefighter safety, and department operations, including the firefighter suicide and prevention and peer support. Recently, we had a municipal school at TEEX with, we invited some of our staffers, JP Laney and myself were there, and we had a great response. I was able to carry a few of the staffers with me that talked my ear off for like 5 hours, but they were very intrigued, and they were new individuals as well. They were from the Harris County area. Also, we're continuing, SFMA continues to do technology and data collaboration opportunities, and hopefully we look forward to continuing these conversations with TCFP and our reciprocity and other organizations represented here. But we appreciate you. Thank you again for the opportunity to provide the update and SFMA continued partnership. So if you have any questions, I can try to help you or answer some. And thank you. I wanted to say off the record, yesterday was amazing, and I appreciate all your support and sitting here watching y'all discussion over the workshop. It was very enlightening. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Move to the Texas State Association of Firefighters.
Glenda Shields, Government Affairs Director with the State Association of Firefighters. Real quick, we're moving into session time, so been talking with Chief Wisco about probably really pushing on appropriations. See if we can get more money to the. I know he's working hard on it, and we're also going to try to run a rider. I know it's also going to be kind of a budget session, so it's going to be a nightmare, I think, up there. I would assume now we could probably hit. I think we got a little wind behind our back on this, so some of the things that we're pushing would be to maybe have the commission get more involved in the health and welfare on, cancer, mental health, those kind of things. Bill's doing a report today on 1593. So assume we need millions of dollars, but we're not going to get that. So, but we'll settle for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we will be working that very, very hard, and probably starting in the next, I guess, next week or two. I've talked with Representative Patterson about it, and he is gung ho on it. He's also been calling up a bunch of members to get behind it too. So if we can move some of that stuff, or we're not really moving it, we're kind of creating it here at the commission that can guide departments and stuff to develop policies, and it's just not something that's out there. Something that's just in the law and no one knows what to do, because department the size of Houston is going to definitely have a different policy than Sweetwater. So we would like to kind of keep that flexibility, and having the commission involved in it, I think, is a great way to give them advice and help them move forward. So we just don't have a bunch of people that are in violation of the statute and don't really realize they are. So anybody got any questions? That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Texas Fire Marshals Association.
Okay.
There you go.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ryan Smith, Second Vice President, TFMA. I just have a quick reminder that the TFMA Annual Conference is being held October 26th through 30th in San Marcos at the Embassy Suites. The registration is open for the early bird discount until October 13th. However, the registration closes permanently after October 21st. You can register online through our website. It's texasfiremarshals.org. Texas spelt out, fire marshals, 1 L and 1 S. I know I say that every time, but everybody gets it wrong. But that's the end of my report, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Texas Association of Fire Educators. Anyone from Taffy? Texas A&M Forest Service.
Good morning, Commissioners. TCFP leadership, Kyle Mills, Planning and Preparedness Department Head for the Texas A&M Forest Service. This morning, since January 1st, we responded to 936 firefighters for just under 200,000 acres. Overall, this is about 522 more fires than this time last year, and about a little over 110,000 more acres. As far as the Texas A&M Forest Service goes, we mobilized 243 TFS personnel to support all hazards events, such as winter weather, FIFA, and screwworm. We also dispatched some drone teams and SISM teams to help out our partners at TDM for some localized all hazards responses. TIFMAS, we've mobilized 2,874 personnel since January 1st, 596 engines. That's to support not only all hazards, but wildfire response. So again, the numbers are staggering. We couldn't do it without them. Today, we have out 24 single engines tenders from TIFMAS, and we have 14 strike teams out. They've been able to maintain that number, and again, without them, we couldn't have an effective response here in Texas. The 2026 summer fire season was slow to develop this year because of the flooding, the rain events that we got. But over the past 4 to 6 weeks, it's caught up with a vengeance. It's indicative of what we call a flash drought. And so I think we're going to see these conditions continue through earlier mid-September, and looking for not really a break or relief until into September, possibly October. With that, I kind of told you about a new project that we're working on called One Forest Service, One Number last meeting. That kind of is going to change the way that our dispatch system works. As a part of that, I brought Chief Sean Fay with me today. Sean, if you'll stand up. A face and name that many of you know from Teague's leadership or his time as the fire chief in Bedford, or before that, his career in Rowlett. But Sean is our deputy chief over statewide dispatch, and so he's going to be running our new dispatch program through and through. So thanks, Sean, for coming and being here today. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks.
National Fire Protection Association. Texas State Association of Fire and Emergency Districts. I know I see Clay there in the back. We bumped you up a little bit faster. I hear you. Take your time. Take your time. Gather your thoughts. Just make sure it's red
Push
on
the button.
There
Okay,
you go.
great. It's all this technology is all complicated. Good morning. I'm Clay Avery. I'm the executive director of the Texas State Association of Fire and Emergency Districts, or SAFE-D, if you just want to be shorter there. We are the State Association for Emergency Services Districts, or ESDs, as they're commonly referred to. Emergency Services Districts, or ESDs, are local governmental entities created by a vote of the citizens in an area to provide stable funding for emergency services such as fire protection and or emergency medical service. Every time I come up here, I want to remind you what ESDs are for those who may not know, because I'm speaking sometimes to a new audience or folks who maybe don't know. At SAFE-D, what we've been doing lately this summer has really been focused on our regional meetings. We've had regional meetings of ESDs in the Southeast, North Central, Southwest, and just recently our Central region, trying to get emergency services districts from those areas together to kind of at least meet each other, know each other, and share sort of best practices and ways of doing things that make services better in our emergency services districts. We've also started having the initial meetings of our Operations Advisory Council. I may have mentioned this at a previous meeting. To serve on the SAFE-D board, you have to be an ESD commissioner. And even though ESD commissioners are ultimately the public officials who are, at the end of the day, responsible for the districts, the buck stops with them. There's many, many people who make an emergency services district go in those districts. Sometimes they have, from the fire chief, sometimes EMS, CEOs, executive directors. They have general managers sometimes at ESDs. They have administrators. And we want to hear from those people. We want to have them have a direct line to the SAFE-D board. So we've started this council to kind of represent those voices and get those voices heard at the board level for SAFE-D. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the call for presentations at our annual conference. The SAFE-D annual conference in 2027 is now open. If there's people in this room who want to get their message out or maybe make a presentation to the ESD community, we'd love to hear that, have that. Go to our website, safe-d.org, and you can fill out a presentation proposal. The conference is February 11th through the 13th at Kalahari in Round Rock this year. So we hope to see everybody there regardless of whether you're making a presentation or not. And lastly, it seems as though, as you've heard already from others, they are serious about having this legislative session next spring. So we are in the stages of getting our legislative platform finalized at SAFE-D. As far as legislative issues that affect emergency services districts, we had a meeting in June in College Station. We're going to have another one coming up in Pflugerville in September, at the end of September, to finalize and really move forward on our SAFE-D legislative platform. Now, while we're primarily going to be focused on legislative issues that affect emergency services districts, obviously we want to try to be helpful to our friends throughout the fire service, state agencies, and otherwise who have legislative goals, and we want to try to work collaboratively there. I know we had the consortium meeting yesterday to that end as well. So looking forward to continuing the good work there. With that, I'll take any questions that y'all might have.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Center for Public Safety Excellence.
Good morning, Leonard Chan, Houston Fire Department. I'm the chair of the Metro Group for Center for Public Safety Excellence, or CPSE. CPSE helps do credentialing for firefighters and analysts, as well as agency accreditation. Big news of the week is CPSE's meeting their summer meetings for accreditation. One department, Houston Fire Department, got reaccredited this week. Other news is the annual conference is going to be in March in Orlando. And also, if you're not already in the system and interested in accreditation, you might have to wait another cycle. There is a wait list. There's just a lot of departments that are seeking accreditation this coming cycle. And I can take any questions. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State Fire Marshal's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chief Deborah Knight sends her regards. She's at the National Association of State Fire Marshals this week and asked me to speak on her behalf. Kelly Stalder, Deputy Chief of Inspections. Who thought it was a good idea to give an engineer a bunch of numbers to talk about? I did want to just go quickly through our dashboard, give you kind of a flavor for some of the things that have been going on. So far, through the end of July, our investigation division has opened 1,125 investigations. Sadly, 8 of those have been firefighter fatality investigations, 3 in the last month. And so we want to keep those people in our thoughts. We have filed charges in 13 cases so far this year. And we have investigated or been asked to assist with 68 fatality fires. Now, those are not all firefighter fatalities, but our investigators have become the folks that people call when they want to have a fatality assistance, firefighter investigation with fatality assistance. We've also done 108 drone flights, and those are flights for various reasons, fire investigations, but they could also be to assist another agency. On the inspection side, so far this year, we've done 5,685 inspections. Our target is 5,000. Last session, we raised it to 7,000, recognizing the fact that we were not inspecting at the rate that would be expected by best practices. And following that, we were obviously not able to achieve that number. Now it looks like this year we're on a target to achieve that number with only 11 inspectors for the entire state of Texas. Which brings me to the other thing I wanted to point out. In our legislative appropriation request, we've asked for 11 additional inspectors, and something else I'll tell you about here in a second. We'll probably tell you another reason why that's important, if not for best practices for inspecting buildings. And we ask for your support on that. The formal battery energy storage system rules will go for publication within the next 2 weeks. As you all know, you have to submit to the Texas Register. They only publish on Fridays, and if you miss the cycle, you got to go sometimes another 2 weeks before they can get anything published. But that will be coming out. We're on target for our implementation date, which is January 1, 2027. And we're still getting a lot of calls. I expect there to be a whole raft of calls that come in next week, because I believe there's a Texas Association of Counties meeting coming up in Austin in the next couple of weeks. On public protection classification, to date, we've approved 10 Class 1 letters. These could be new Class 1s, or they could be people who were re-upped for Class 1, 36 for Class 2, and 23 for Class 3. We have a very high rate of performance in public protection class throughout the country. Finally, one of the things that Chief Knight asked me to emphasize, we're still working on getting everybody into the new NERIS system that replaced InFirst, TexFirst. We're now at 49% of the departments that have been contacted. So, as you know, there's a little bit of softness in the number. You know, if you ask the Forest Service, they might have a few more fire departments on their list than we have on our list. We're trying to reach out to those as well. But 49% is a pretty good number for us at this point, and we're hoping to improve that as the months go on. Chief Knight asked me to bring up one topic that I just wanted you to be aware of. She was asked at the conference that she's at about the possibility of implementing a mandatory burn reporting system. And this would be not just firefighter injury reporting, but any kinds of burns of a specific type similar to the methodology that's used for reporting gunshots, or in some states, they even report certain kinds of injuries that are caused by edged weapons or those kinds of things. But there's been some questions asked about should we have some type of mandatory burn reporting system. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, Firefighter Cancer Support Network.
Mr.
Chief
Chairman,
Wisco?
on behalf of Curtis Dunn, since May of this year, the Cancer Network has assisted 16 Texas firefighters, whether it be through providing them with a toolbox and the information that's provided, or supporting their families, or connecting them with a mentor, a cancer survivor mentor. 64 firefighters in Texas have taken the awareness training for the first time, and they were present at 2 conferences this summer, the SFFMA in June, and then last week at the IFF convention in North. That's the end of his report.
Thank you. And I always like to give shout outs or kudos to our staff, especially when they do some great things. Whoever it is on staff that put the, I think I'd asked for it before, but the agencies on the screens behind me and what we're able to look at, whoever put those listed like that rather than just one, thank you. It's so much easier to keep track of who's up to speak next rather than just reading in a paragraph and trying to grab the agency. So from this seat, whoever did that, you may remain unknown, but thank you so much. Let's move on to agenda item number 5.
Report from the Budget and Strategic Plan Ad Hoc Subcommittee. The subcommittee does not have any kind of an official report. If any of the other commissioners on the subcommittee, if we're good. Any items? All right.
That was an easy one.
Everything's in order.
Sounds good. We'll move on to agenda item number 6,
Report from Commission Representative on Texas Homeland Security Council.
and that's going to be Commissioner Brandon Wade.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So we met in June the 17th at DPS headquarters, had a pretty full meeting. One of the things that they covered in 2025, Senate Bill 36 created under DPS a Homeland Security Division. So that division has kind of fully started to staff up, got their leadership in place, and has gotten other positions with it. So they're kind of hitting the ground running now this year that they've been able to fill those positions. So a couple of the big 3 things that they're working on is preparedness, and then critical infrastructure security and border security are the big 3 things that division is looking at. Something I think for departments to know that you can reach out to that division for the Homeland Security Division. They are helping with mass casualty attack workshops, critical infrastructure security workshops, and also the House Bill 33, which is the school safety drills. And that part of DPS is willing to help coordinate, help you facilitate if you're doing drills or things within your community. We had a presentation, and it was pretty timely, I think, probably on purpose. Now that school's back, this is when the fusion centers and the intelligence centers are getting a whole lot of school threats, and they're processing all of that stuff. So they have led by Major Sharon Jones, they have a full behavior threat assessment kind of team workshops. They'll put those workshops on. They'll help train your firefighters, individuals in the community to kind of work through those tools that they have available to hopefully prevent a shooting that takes place at these schools. And they have a number of systems there in place, things such as iWatch Texas or iSave Texas. And you can go on, and with the iWatch Texas, it's for anybody can submit something to DPS for that behavioral threat assessment team to be able to look at and start working with local partners and hopefully minimizing any threats to the school children that are out there. Furthermore, there was a presentation, and this is something that I wasn't aware about, but there is a group called Secure Communities Network. And what it is it is largely supported and focus on the protection for centers of Jewish life. And they have a massive intelligence and security network here. And while they have a primary focus on supporting and securing the Jewish community centers, they work with everybody. And if you have one of those centers or that group within your community, you can reach out to them and they come out, they'll conduct workshops for the group. So while they have a focus on the Jewish Centers of Life, they will really work with anybody and help do security assessments, intelligence. If anything comes through their intelligence, they're reporting that, and they have very strong connections within each of the federal agencies or DPS agencies. So it's really a resource that may not be out front, but they're there working, and you can reach out to that group and coordinate with them and even get training from them. And then last, and it was kind of timely because it was in the news, there was a presentation from the rapid response team from Dishes that goes out for any type of outbreaks. And I think in the news here, we had the chlorosporin, I can't even say it, but you know, the lettuce that was causing everybody grief. So their report right before all of that outbreak, that's a team that goes out. They were at FIFA working in the communities. And again, you may see them if there's ever any public outbreaks, whether it's from food or agriculture or livestock. So it was a full meeting, but I think for everybody, the main points is that division within DPS is here to support the state of Texas, to work with agencies and communities to make sure that they're secure, and then obviously the school safety support with the behavioral threat assessment team. So that's the end of the report, Chair.
Great. Thanks, Commissioner Wade. Appreciate it. We'll move on to agenda item number 7, and we'll take A and B. We'll do those separately because we'll take some action.
Matters referred to the commission by the Health and Wellness Committee, starting with A, discussion and possible action on the 2026 firefighter safety stand-down activities.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Mike Wisco, I got a phone call from Chairman Boker early this morning. He had a family emergency that was preventing him from getting here today. He did not share anything with me on 7A.
Understood. And we'll move on to agenda item B.
Discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of Bryce Campbell to replace outgoing committee member Steve Green.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Steve Green stepped down from the committee following his retirement from Longview. In accordance with our eligibility list, the next name is Bryce Campbell. I've spoken with Bryce. He is still interested in serving. And so what you have in front of you is would need a vote to appoint him.
So members, I would entertain a motion to appoint Bryce Campbell to replace, to complete the term on the Health and Wellness Committee.
Commissioner Buford make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Buford,
Commissioner Coatney, second.
second by Vice Chair Coatney. Any discussion from the board? Seeing no one raising their hand, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Show that to be unanimous. And Chief Wisco, I know, will reach out to Bryce Campbell. So, oh, is he here? Oh, hey, you want to come up and give an introductory speech? And sorry, Bryce, no, by all means, come on up. It's customary for you to give a 3 to 5 minute speech, and then,
I was going to shoot for 20 if that's all right.
And you should just not have shown up, is what you're going to find out.
No, Bryce Campbell, Colony Fire Department. Been heavily involved with firefighter health and wellness. 18 years on the job, and looking forward to it.
No, great. Hey,
Thank you.
brother, thanks for being here. Appreciate
sir.
you, your willingness to serve the state and the fire service, and thanks for coming to the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move on. Yeah. Moving on to agenda item number 8.
Matters referred to the commission by the Firefighter Advisory Committee, including the committee report.
Chairman and Commissioners, got a phone call yesterday evening. Spent a lot of time on the phone with the committees recently. But Chief DeYear is stuck in California. God help him. He's working on trying to get home today. But he wanted me to pass on that they are still reviewing 441, which is CE. That was a rule review that you sent to them back in actually in February. They had an ad hoc committee that took a look at it at their last meeting in July. A lot of discussion and a recommendation from the committee through Chief DeYear is maybe a joint committee meeting of all 3 committees to really take a good look at, from the testing and curriculum side, the health and wellness side, and the firefighter advisory side, what we want the CE rules to look like and to involve. But he was looking for direction from you all today that would be okay to try to pull something like that together.
Commissioners? sounds like a great, I mean, I think it sounds like a great idea. Is there any action you need from us to move forward with that?
I don't think any action's really required other than I think they were just looking for your blessing to do that. It'll be a large undertaking, but we can certainly pull it off in here, and I'll get with the 3 committee chairs and see if we can figure out a date that works for everybody between now and your November meeting. So hopefully they can provide some kind of report.
That would be great. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 9, and one at a time on this, please.
Matters referred to the commission from the Curriculum and Testing Committee, starting with A, discussion and possible final adoption of proposed changes to 37 TAC Chapter 439, examinations for certification.
Real quick, commissioners, Pat McAuliffe called me day before yesterday. He's sick and unable to be here, but he has a stand-in, so you're not going to have to listen to me. Chief Watson.
Good morning. Chris Watson. I'm a member of the Curriculum Testing Committee.
More, Chris. Thank you. Go ahead. We're on item A.
Item A is
Yes,
the final adoption of changes to the rule that strikes Inspector 1, Inspector 2. There's no longer Inspector 1, Inspector 2. There's just Inspector. So just asking for approval for the final adoption of that rule.
Sounds good. Commissioners, we're on final adoption. Does anyone have any questions or comments on agenda item A? With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve agenda item number A.
Commissioner
Letter A.
Wade, so moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wade.
Commissioner Hamilton, second.
Second by Commissioner Hamilton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Shows that to be unanimous. We'll move on to agenda item letter B.
Discussion and possible final adoption of proposed updates to the driver operator curriculum manual.
The driver operator curriculum manual has been updated to match the new NFPA standard. So the previous standard was 1002, 2017 version. It's now updated to NFPA 1010, 1024 version. There's significant renumbering of the JPRs and the standard because of the consolidation. The proposed effective date for the new curriculum is January 1, 2027. The content of the curriculum is pretty nearly identical. Some modest reorganizations, some terminology updates. Hyperlinks and bookmarks were added to the new formatting to make it easier to navigate. There's no change in overall recommended hours for the training for driver operator. However, 4 hours were moved from a general section to the preventive section just to match what's in the standard. And the new textbooks for the references for this curriculum is Fire Apparatus Driver Operator 4th edition by Jones and Bartlett, and Pumping and Aerial Apparatus Driver Operator Handbook 4th edition by IFSTA. And we're requesting approval of this updated curriculum for Chapter 7 Driver Operator.
Thank you. Commissioners, we're up for final adoption on the driver operator curriculum manual. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So move Malliner.
Motion by Commissioner Malliner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion, any questions? Commissioners, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Show that one to be unanimous as well. We'll move on to agenda item C.
Discussion and possible final adoption of proposed updates to the structure firefighter curriculum manual.
The basic firefighter curriculum manual has been updated from NFPA Standard 1001 2019 edition to NFPA 1010 2024 edition. Proposed effective date is January 1st, 2027. Again, mostly minor terminology changes. There were a couple of JPR changes. The JPR for using the telephone, answering a station telephone, has been eliminated. And a JPR for the use of a thermal imaging camera has been added to Firefighter 2. The manual, the course overview, the instructor information has been updated to new formats so that hyperlinks and bookmarks were added for easier navigation. The new textbooks, required references have been updated. Essentials of Firefighting, Firefighter 1, 8th edition. Essentials of Firefighting, Firefighter 2, 8th edition. Fundamentals of Firefighter Skills and Hazardous Materials Response, 5th edition by Jones Bartlett. And we're requesting approval for Chapter 1 Basic Firefighter Curriculum.
Commissioners, we're on final adoption for this structured firefighter curriculum manual. Entertain a motion for the approval.
Commissioner Coatney, recommend approval.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Coatney. Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Wade.
Second by Commissioner Wade. Members, we have a motion on the table. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. We'll move on to agenda item 9D.
Discussion and possible final adoption of proposed updates to the Incident Safety Officer Curriculum Manual.
Incident Safety Officer Curriculum Manual has been updated from NFPA 521-2020 edition to NFPA 1550 2024 edition. Proposed effective date is January 1, 2027. Again, nearly identical content, only minor terminology changes, formatting changes to add hyperlinks for easy navigation. New textbook is Fire Department Incident Safety Officer 4th edition from Jones and Bartlett. And we also want to point out that due to consolidation, there are additional chapters in NFPA standards. So this curriculum comes from NFPA 1550, which contains multiple NFPA standards that are consolidated, but we're specifically indicating which chapters are required for testable material, which would be Chapter 3, which contains the JPR for Incident Safety Officer, and Chapters 6 through 16, which contains information on Formula 1500.
Thank you.
We're requesting approval for updated curriculum for Chapter 10, Incident Safety Officer.
All right, Commissioners, we're on final adoption for the Safety Officer, Incident Safety Officer Curriculum Manual. Entertain a motion for approval.
Morgan, so moved.
Got a motion by Secretary Morgan, got a second by Vice Chair Coatney. Any discussion? Commissioners, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Show this one pass unanimously. Chris, you did a fantastic job. I think you might have a new job. We'll tell Chairman McAuliffe that you got it under control. Hey, thank you so much. Move on to agenda item 10.
Report and possible action on the HB 1593 study.
Good morning, Chairman Glenn, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Bill Cruz. I'm a captain of the Garland Fire Department, also the president of Local 1293, trustee and behavioral health liaison for the Texas State Association of Firefighters. I had the honor and the privilege to chair the House Bill 1593 Advisory Committee. I have previously had the opportunity to provide the Commission with a progress report on the committee's work. Today, I'm here to present the committee's final report and summarize the findings and recommendations that we're submitting for the Commission's consideration. House Bill 1593 directed this committee to study suicide prevention and peer support programs in Texas fire departments. The committee was asked to review the current status of these programs, consider possible licensing and confidentiality concerns, and make recommendations regarding legislation, local government action, and specific programs that could be implemented in Texas. The committee's final report has been organized around those three areas. The first area being current status of peer support and suicide prevention in Texas fire departments. The committee found that Texas has made meaningful progress. Peer support is more widely accepted today than it ever has been, and many departments have designated peer supporters or informal peer support teams. However, the committee also found that the presence of a peer support team should not be confused with having a mature peer support team program. A mature program requires written procedures, defined scope, confidentiality practices, referral pathways, ongoing training, regular team meetings, leadership support, and access to clinical consultation. In other words, Texas has moved beyond the question of whether peer support and suicide prevention is needed. The more urgent question now is how do we professionalize, standardize, and sustain these programs in a way that works for departments of every size. The second area is licensing and confidentiality. The committee does not recommend creating a separate state license or certification for peer supporters at this time. Peer support is not clinical treatment, and peer supporters should not be expected to diagnose, treat, provide therapy, conduct fitness for duty evaluations, or make employment-related recommendations. Instead, the committee recommends establishing minimum expectations for peer support training, scope, confidentiality, referral, and clinical consultations. The committee also found that confidentiality is the central trust issue in firefighter behavioral health. Firefighters are more likely to speak and gain support early when they believe that peer support conversations and counseling relationships will not be used against them in employment, discipline, promotion, or fitness for duty decisions. When the committee began its work, strengthening statutory confidentiality protections for peer supporters was identified as an important need. As the committee's work was being finalized, however, it was recognized that House Bill 35 had already addressed that concern by establishing confidentiality protections for peer supporters. That is an important step forward, and the committee believes it should be recognized. Our recommendation is therefore not simply to create confidentiality protection where none exists, but to build upon the protections established by House Bill 35, ensure that firefighters and peer supporters understand these protections, and evaluate whether any gaps remain for peer support programs that may fall outside those protections. Confidentiality must remain one of the foundational principles of any peer support program. Firefighters need to know what is protected, what the exceptions to confidentiality are, and that seeking appropriate peer support will not unnecessarily place their careers at risk. And third area is recommended legislative action or recommendations for fire departments. The committee recommends a statewide framework that establishes a practical floor, not a rigid ceiling. Texas fire departments vary widely. Some are large career departments, some are volunteer or combination departments. Some have immediate access to clinicians and training resources, while others do not. An interesting note, of the 220 counties in Texas, only 110 have trauma-informed and occupationally aware clinicians in those counties. The goal should not be to force every department into the same model. The goal should be to ensure that every firefighter in Texas has access to trained peer support, suicide prevention education, culturally competent clinical referral options, and a trusted pathway to assistance. The committee's priority recommendations include adopting statewide baseline expectations for fire department peer support programs, including written SOPs, confidentiality practices, training requirements, clinical consultation, referral pathways, and limited non-identifying program evaluation. Adding 8 hours of resiliency training to the TCFP Certified Academy curriculum. Requiring 4 hours of recurring suicide prevention training for firefighters on a 4-year cycle. Adding psychological safety, emotional intelligence, peer support awareness, suicide prevention leadership, and behavioral health resource navigation to fire officer certification curricula. Recognizing and supporting the confidentiality protections established through House Bill 35, promoting clear guidance and education regarding those protections, and evaluating whether additional protections are needed for peer support programs that may fall outside those protections. Encouraging local governments to develop or participate in local or regional peer support and suicide prevention programs. Promoting access to licensed, independent, culturally competent behavioral health providers. And evaluating funding mechanisms or state-level administrative capacity to support model policies, training standards, technical assistance, provider vetting resources, and limited statewide data collection. The committee also recommends a phased approach to implementation. The first phase would focus on model policies, guidance regarding the confidentiality protections established by House Bill 35, and their application to peer support programs, provider vetting tools, and recommended training standards. The second phase would incorporate resiliency, suicide prevention, and behavioral health leadership into appropriate TCFP curricula. The third phase would support local and regional peer support implementation through grants, training assistance, and clinical consultation resources. The fourth phase would collect limited, non-identifying data to help identify training completion, program maturity, utilization, referral activity, and statewide access gaps. Throughout this work, the committee tried to remain mindful of two important realities. First, firefighter behavioral health is a safety issue. It affects the individual firefighter, the crew, the family, the department, and the public that we serve. Second, any statewide framework must be practical. It must support large departments, small departments, volunteer, combination, rural, and regional partnerships. The committee believes Texas should now move from acceptance to professionalization. Peer support and suicide prevention should not depend solely on geography, department size, or the passion of a few committed individuals. They should be supported by clear expectations, the confidentiality protections Texas has already begun putting into place, appropriate training, clinical referral pathways, and leadership commitment. On behalf of the House Bill 1593 Advisory Committee, I respectfully submit this final report to the Commission for consideration and for transmittal as required. Thank you, on a personal note, for the opportunity to serve in a role in something that I have a lot of passion about. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions?
May I say something,
By all means.
Commissioner Friedak? Thank you for that report. It was very well done. And thank you for including volunteer fire departments, because where I'm from, we only have one paid. And we have a bunch of our volunteers. So I really thank you for doing that from our community.
Cap, I just want to say how much this is an important topic to me as well. Like most people in this room, I've come from a department where there's been suicides within the department, and I was the chief over a department that we had to bury a firefighter from a suicide. So there's a personal connection to it. I do have a couple questions, but first, I really want to also echo Commissioner Frederick's part, which is thank you for the work you and your committee have done on this. It's a very strong report, very well done and thoughtful. On the cultural competence, I think that's a component that a lot of people miss. It doesn't do us any good to go to a counselor who hasn't been trained or experienced in dealing with first responders. And when we go to talk to them about our challenges and we wind up becoming their counselor, that's the reversal of roles that we don't want to be put in. So I appreciate that. On the standardized SOP and SOG piece, I guess what we'd look at, Chief Wisco, is more of a model for them to adopt with minimum standards, because as you pointed out, different departments have different capabilities into it, and you're going to want the SOGs to be pretty much a model that they're going to adopt to that given department.
Well, and on that, Chief, if I may interrupt,
Yes, sir.
we're looking also that there be somebody, a position created in the state that not only are those models there, but there's somebody that can give them guidance as they adapt those to their department. Somebody that has a variety of knowledge in that to help them to adapt that so it fits their department.
I think that would be great. The peer-to-peer, obviously, that's the quintessential way to go. People are going to go to their peers to talk about it, but then we have to create the link to be able to go to the culturally competent counselor. So that's an important part you guys covered as well. The last two pieces, 4 hours every 4 years. So I would want to talk to Chief Wisco about when do we actually start that 4 hours? Are we going to look at it in 2027? When do we adopt that? When do we build that? And who's going to build that? I'm assuming the commission is going to build it out. So I'd like to make sure we're working on that and not putting that 4 years down the road to begin. We can get the 8 hours into the academies pretty quickly, obviously. And the last thing, from a point of personal perspective, is that the work you've done, the work the associations have done is great. We still have work to do with leadership behaviors in the fire service. And until the leaders of the fire service believe there's a value, I've participated in briefings by fire chiefs who've publicly stated that the only firefighters who commit suicide are weak firefighters. And that is ill-informed and, well, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's an ill-informed response that we as leaders of the Texas Fire Service should not be echoing. And we need to take a strong stance that it's okay to ask for help. And fire chiefs and leaders of the fire service on the Firefighters Association side and the fire chief side have to model the behavior expected of our employees and show vulnerability. And I think that is important for our fire service to become better at taking care of ourselves. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Buford. Brother Cruz, I thank you for your work that you've done with this committee of hard hitters across the state. There was some big names on there that have been advocates for just mental health for firefighters, not just with this committee, but prior to this and still today. And so we thank y'all for y'all's commitment to this amazing report. To the stakeholders here, this is what it should look like. We acknowledge this like we've acknowledged many things over the years with cancer, with now mental health in the fire service, and we need y'all's continued push through y'all's avenues to get these things changed through legislation, so we can start adopting these things, so we can start pushing for these things. The things that y'all did today are in this committee, the generational impact for the fire service, and we do appreciate it. Future generations are going to be able to be healthier in, healthier out because of the things y'all did today. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman. Mike Wisco. Commissioners, so the next step, we would need you all to vote to accept this report today. We have to submit it to the governor's office and the legislature before September the 1st. The hope here is, and to Commissioner Buford and Coatney's points, now's the time for legislation to support this so we can move forward with this. And we will do all we can from this side to inform and educate. Obviously, we can't lobby, but members in the audience and those listening can. And I think this is a very important issue.
Commissioners, I would entertain a motion to accept the report.
Commissioner Hamilton, so moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hamilton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Buford. And then while we're in discussion, Brother Cruz, I would like to just say thank you. And as Commissioner Buford made note to all the different stakeholder groups in the room, I want to make sure everyone knows, and especially what Commissioner Fried was pointing out, with the area that you live in. I appreciate you over the time as a resource for me, how quick you are to pay attention to what's going on, to give me a heads up or to make sure that we've got resources that we can deploy. But for all the stakeholder groups, just want you understand, while Bill Cruz, is standing before you, representing the TCFP and the IFF, I appreciate what you've done to work across all the stakeholder groups with all the different resources that each stakeholder group brings. And that was no more evident than, last year in Kerrville, when you were working with the different resources that were coming in and make sure that we were just getting good support for our members, no matter who was providing it, and making sure that we are providing support even outside of our organization, just to make sure that firefighters, whether they're volunteer or paid, were getting the support they need. Because, as Vice Chair Coaten was saying, it's, having the loss of one of our firefighters, especially through suicide, is just something that's as tragic as it is. I really believe it's many times something hopefully we can avoid, or is avoidable. So anyways, thank you for your work. Appreciate it. Commissioners, anyone else? We have a proper motion before us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. So that will pass unanimously for us to accept that report. And thanks again to that committee for all their work that they did. Takes us on to agenda item 11.
Discussion and possible action on proposed changes to 37 TAC, Chapter 421, Standards for Certification, including but not limited to 421.9.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Mike Wisco, this is for final adoption. This is a change to specifically to 421.9E. You would see a language change. If anything, we've probably made it a little easier by removing all the words and just putting a reference to our statutory authority of 419, section .032.
Commissioners, you heard Chief Wisco mention that we are on final adoption on agenda item 11. Entertain a motion to approve.
Commissioner Coatney, recommendation to approve.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Coatney. Is there a second?
Second by Malliner.
Second by Commissioner Malliner. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Show that passes unanimously. We'll move on to agenda item 12.
Discussion and possible action on 37 TAC, Chapter 463, Advisory Committees, Practice and Procedures.
And I know we've got a couple of things to discuss here. Probably want to give Vice Chair Coatney a chance to speak to maybe just some next steps and possible actions that we need to take.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee, 4 committees, has met, and during the period of time over since the last meeting to this meeting, we restructured the application process. And what's happening now, before, for historical perspective, we would receive all of the applications at one time. Last year it was about 120 applications. Then we'd meet with the 5 commissioners who are on this subcommittee, ad hoc committee, and we go through those applications and force rank those applications and then bring forward recommendations. The challenge with that is it's a voluminous amount of information to go through. We're trying to make priorities based on the needs of the committee. That included not just the background of the applicants, but also a geographical location across the state and equal representation from different stakeholder groups. As we worked through that, we realized there were some gaps that we were missing in bringing forward those names and recommendations just through the process. We decided to refine the process to where behind the scenes, some of it was actually being graded based on a rubric that was developed already. So the standardized objective information like years of service, number of certifications, that all was identified to be graded by a rubric behind the scenes as it was submitted. All of the commissioners came to an agreement on what those weighted averages would be, and we developed that. The subjective components, in other words, the responses that each of the applicants would write in, were evaluated independently by each of the commissioners. The way this works is as an applicant creates their responses to 3 main questions that are in there that talks about why they want to serve on the committee, how their particular experience is relevant to the committee. And there's a third question talking about their experience with standards and curriculum on there as well. We look at that and we rate that on a Likert scale of 1 to 7, not 1 to 5. And the reason for the 1 to 7 is because it provides more granularity and separation of candidates. And so we each go into that and we rate that. We rate that with complete autonomy as far as the applicant. We don't know the name of the applicant or anything unless they've provided that information within their responses. Some will identify themselves as a fire chief of a particular area or a lieutenant of a particular fire department. And so we weigh that in, and then that is cumulatively put together, and then the ranking is automatically done for us behind the scenes. So when we meet, there are already a ranking of candidates, and then we go through and the names are overlaid and we start to discuss those candidates. So far, the process has been great. The IT department of the commission, working through the leadership of Commissioner Johnson and Mo, have really pulled together, I think, an exceptional program that has made the process that much easier. I'll leave that up to my committee members to offer their opinion of it. But we do have a couple gaps still that we have to oversee before we're ready to bring forward any recommendations. And one of those gaps is actually access to this. Some of the commissioners haven't been able to get complete access to all of the applications or to be able to grade them before they've timed out automatically on them. And so we're going to need those applicants opened up again, or the applications opened up again. I'm assuming they have been because I've seen it.
I mean, you've had access, but
a couple have come through just while I've been sitting at the meeting. So obviously it's been turned on again. So it should be coming to the remainder of the committee. We'll take the remainder of this month, if that's enough time for the members of the committee to finish going through that. And then I'll get a meeting scheduled for us in September to sit down and discuss the final rankings of the committee. And that's it from my perspective for discussion now.
Thanks, Vice Chair
Mr.
Coates.
Chair, if you want our Chief Technology Director,
Please.
Mo Adams, to come up and explain it's on now and working and what you can do with it. So.
I'm Mo Adams, Chief Information Officer for Texas Commission on Fire Protection. All right, so when Chief Risco told me about it, I sent out an email to every grader. You should have received a dashboard with all the open committee applications. And you should see on the dashboard the ones that have been graded and the ones that have not been graded. So each individual grader should have received a dashboard. If you've not received it, then I need to know about it and then take care of it.
And so, quick question for you: how long? So, and we were wanting to the idea was to reopen the applications also because of some on the announcement whether or not you could or you couldn't apply for more than one committee. And so, now we've reopened the applications. How long is the?
I don't believe we
No.
didn't reopen the applications. We made sure.
Okay.
Just
they
committee
had
members
access.
have access to grade.
Yeah.
What's still standing
Okay.
for commission.
So then that was part of the discussion yesterday during the workshop was
Right.
that we might have
And-
had some
and the
confusion.
mix-
Some
I
people.
think the confusion was we said we would do this every year between July and September. We
Right.
did that, but it also says in the next section of that rule, it'll be for 30, no less than 30 days, no longer than 60.
Okay.
We did 30 days. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to turn it back on, add some more, we can. That's up to you all. But right now, that piece is not open.
Okay.
I know a couple have come through, but they're not getting into the system because we've got that turned off.
Okay. I know, Commissioner, I know that was one of the questions that was brought up yesterday, that you had some people that might have been confused on if you could or couldn't apply. And there was also the conversation about people that were reapplying, not necessarily understanding that they were reapplying where they needed to offer some more information. So kind of the pleasure of the commissioners, but it would seem to
Certainly
make
a work in
sense.
progress. I mean, there's little tweaks that still need to be made.
It would seem to make sense that we could reopen the applications, re-announce it to people to let them know how long, and clarify those two things to the members of the fire service.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we could go ahead and open it up again for a period not to exceed another 30 days. We would meet the 60 days, and that would give us time still to meet and discuss before the next November meeting. The benefit of that is two things. One, we need to change our internal policy to explain. Right now, there's a conflict. In one area, it says they can apply for as many committees as they want. In another area, it says they can only apply for one. What's happened with some of the people on the committee when we've seen the applicant, because it's pretty easy to do, they just use the same application over and over again. And what most of us have done is grade the first one, and the next two, we just grade it low, kind of driving the priority for whichever one. The challenge with that is we're making a decision based on when we see that first application. So the first application may not even be the main committee they want to serve on. So I think we need to reach out to those who've applied for multiple ones and say, which committee are you actually applying for, and narrow that down. That'll take some work, and I can reach out to them if we need to, or somebody from the commission could probably better to reach out to them and ask them what they want to prioritize. Also, that would open it up for anybody else who've missed the window. We've had a total of 54 applications, so that's less than 50% of what we had in the past. I think opening up another 90 days, or 90 days, another 30 days would give us a larger pool to draw from. And from there, we'll get the ranking. If you remember, with the standardization of 3 people coming off of each committee, we have to select 5 for the first position and 2 for each subsequent position. So basically what each of the committee members has is 27 names, what they've done in the past that they bring forward, and we've discussed. This way, those 27 will already be ranked for us before we get there, and then we can go ahead and discuss those 27.
Hey, Mo, can we ask you a question for you? So maybe this cycle, if not for the next cycle, is there a way? I understand what Vice Chair Coatney's saying, that for people that have already applied, if they've applied for more than one, hey, we can reach out to them and let us know which one is your priority. But for someone that applies tomorrow or after we reopen it, is there a way to, whether it be on the application itself, or is there a way for them to flag which one is their priority if they're going to apply for more than one?
Yeah. Right now, it's not built into the application.
Sure.
But that's something we can add. But I would like to say, for those who have applied already, they can reapply. All it's going to do is override whatever they sent the first time.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, at the very end, it's going to tell them that, hey, the system sees that you've applied already. If you submit, it's going to override whatever. And this was built in because we recognize that maybe the first time they entered, they did not put in all the information they wanted to.
Sure.
So this allows them to override whatever they did the first time.
So then what would be the easiest way, as far as direction for someone that's applying, what would be the easiest way for them to flag to the committee that this is their priority? Should they put it in the text? Like, should we give them on the direction? Should we just tell them to put it in the text of one of their responses, or Vice Chair Coatney, do you have a thought on that also?
We could update the notice that goes out on the on the application page that states, hey, if for some reason you've applied multiple or whatever, indicate that this is what you are interested in. Yeah, we could put that information.
You can do that
in
a timely fashion before we reopen it.
Yes, we could do that.
Okay.
And it's not a large number of people who've applied for multiple. I would say it's less than.
And we could query behind the scenes and tell you, like those who have multiple applications
Okay.
within this period. We could do that as well.
Sounds good. And then, assuming that we get a motion that we pass it, reaching out to, seems like we would just be reaching out to those that have already applied as far as that are currently seeking renewal, or we could reach out to them as well.
And that
if
is a piece that I
necessary.
think we still have a gap on. People who are seeking to be renewed, with their places, they're cycling up by place. Some people may not even know that they're what position they hold unless they look at the list. So I think it's important for us to reach out to them saying, hey, your position is deemed for you coming off, that position coming off and being replaced. If you're interested in staying on, you need to reapply. Yeah. And be considered. And then a conversation myself and Commissioner Buford were having is, how do we prioritize, if somebody's serving and they're in good standing, how do we make sure to prioritize maintaining them on the current committee?
Right.
And so that'd be something as a committee that we'll have to work through as well.
Okay. So sounds to me that a motion to reopen for an initial 30-day period based upon what our staff can, how quickly they can get it done, the next however many days or next week, to reopen it for 30 more days would be in order. Does that sound like where we're at? So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, reopen the process for additional 30 days.
I have a motion by Commissioner Buford to open the committee application process for an additional 30 days.
Commissioner
Is there a
Hamilton, second.
Have a second by Commissioner Hamilton. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just to be clear, so if they have applied for all three committees previously and they reapply, will it take it off our dashboard? Because we have 54 now. If you apply for all three, is it going to reduce that number by 1? So we know to adequately, so we don't miss anybody. So we adequately grade those people. How do we know that those people are, 1, are reapplying, or 2, we've already looked at that application?
If they are applying, they get a new ID. So the old one goes away, but they get a new
So it
application.
will be off our dashboard.
Yes.
Okay, good, very good. That's outstanding work, by the way.
All right.
I don't know how you did it, but it's great.
And to that point, I guess, Rhonda, we got a proper motion. One thing I would say to that is we probably don't, to save y'all work, having served on the committee, we don't necessarily need people to be reapplying,
Well,
unless
that was going to be,
unless
I'm a little confused. I mean, are we throwing out all we got, or are we just opening it to get more? Because I think we need to be very clear when we repost this, that you don't have to reapply.
Right.
This is just an extended
An ex-
application period.
We're opening to get more.
Okay.
to get more.
But
And-
then you also want us to contact the ones that applied for more than one seat and ask them which one they prefer.
Just to identify which one they prefer, because they've already been graded. I mean, they submitted what they submitted. I'm not going to say, oh, your submission wasn't good enough, you're going to have to rewrite it. That was up to them. They're adults. They wrote what they wrote.
Chairman, kind of quick word.
Yes,
Mo,
sir.
thank you for your work. That it was, despite like trying to work these small details out here, this was a very smooth process. Y'all did a great job with it. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I want to add on to that too. I've worked with Mo on a couple projects, and I kind of consider myself the thought, and then but Mo is the muscle. He's the brains behind it. So I appreciate working with him, and he compliments me like my wife compliments me. We go good together.
I don't know what to say.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, any further discussion? So we have a proper motion before us to reopen the application process for an additional 30 days upon the time when our staff can get it set up. We'll have it done before the end of September. And it's just an extension. It's not taking away anyone who's already applied. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Show that passes unanimously. One other comment I would offer on this, I know we've had, from the stakeholder groups, we've had some feedback, we've been provided letters. I would encourage the 3 stakeholder groups, primarily that we've been discussing, SFFMA, Texas Fire Chiefs Association, and Texas State Association of Firefighters. I would highly encourage just those 3 stakeholder groups to come together and just have a conversation. I'm not telling people that they have to change their minds but just have a conversation about kind of the status of this selection process and the committees and just at least hear each other out. That way, hopefully we can continue to move forward with a good process. Let's see, that takes us on to, it would take us on to agenda item 13, but we do not have any action that we need to take. We've already discussed this and we do not have a motion on the floor, so there's nothing to table. So I don't see any reason why we can't just move on to agenda item number 14.
Discussion and possible action on the 2025 injury report.
Good morning, Commissioners. Grace Wilson. I'm the Public Information Officer here at Texas Commission on Fire Protection. Okay, so last meeting, we reviewed the injury report and we kind of went over the highlights. Now, September 1 is the date by which I have to get this year's 2025 injury report to the State Fire Marshal's office. So that's the deadline. So today, what y'all need to do is to come up with your official recommendations for the Texas Fire Service. So if you would go to page, what is that? 225 of the notebook, or page 26 of the injury report. You'll be able to see that first numbered list of 6 recommendations. Those are last year's recommendations. It's just so that they're available, so you know what you said last year. And then the next list of, 4 or 5, those are recommendations that have come from the Firefighter Advisory Committee for your consideration.
And Commissioners, as Grace pointed out, it's going to be on page 225 and 226, or potentially if you're on Adobe, it might be on 229, but it's going to be the recommendations is the top of that page, 225. Were there any comments or suggestions?
Commissioner Buford, Grace, thank you for outstanding report like always. Every year it keeps getting better and better. I had a question about the burns being, is there any correlation on tracking that of being related to gear issues or proper use of gear?
Grace, I'll take that for you. We're gonna dive into that, and under the agency chief's report, Rick Wallace is gonna provide some insight to that.
All right,
But
thank you.
yes, that's the short answer.
Any other comments? One thing I would say is, as we start talking about cancer diagnoses, and especially with retirees, with the passage of the Honoring Our Fallen Heroes Act, and the Public Safety Officers Benefit for cancer, just as a reminder for everyone, it's a 15-year look back. So a retiree must be diagnosed within 15 years of retirement to look back, but it goes back to any death since January 1 of 2020. So like for right now, we have basically we ended up with about a 6-year look back. There's 3 years to file, and I believe it was December 18th. So December 18th is when the clock started ticking, when the president signed that bill into law. So we have a 3-year look back, or a 3-year window to get them filed. But the point is, on the retiree diagnoses, we're going to start to see more data. We're going to have more data. We also need to be tracking down retirees that are eligible for the PSOB. So it's a great report. It's always good, but it's even more timely now with the passage of the Honoring Our Fallen Heroes Act and how that's going to affect our active members and retiree members.
Grace, thank you again for a great report. I have one question before we make recommendations. Of the 6 recommendations from 24 that went into place on the 25 report, have we been able to track those as far as how well we've complied with those before we put in new recommendations?
I think this came up. And let's see, what have we got here?
If I can.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, some of those recommendations seem to be geared more towards staff and how we collect the data. The recommendations that are needed here are for the fire service,
Right.
of how to get better at preventing injuries. as far as staff is concerned, we continue to reevaluate the data we're getting and what we're doing with it. And we're going to speak to that a little bit more when Rick Wallace gets up under the agency chief report about injuries and the correlations we're seeing. So I think we'll be able to answer that question in a minute under a different agenda item. But for here, we seem to get confused every year, and then we get several recommendations on what we ought to be collecting versus what we really need are recommendations to the fire service how to get safer.
Agreed. So. I have one question, Commissioner Mallner.
Sure.
On the new ones under number 3, fire departments are encouraged to train and require company officers to perform daily PPE inspections. We already require each firefighter to inspect their own gear, and I think it's illegal for us to have a firefighter like inspect the company officer's gear for them. So is this just an extra inspection, and how are we going to document that if that's going to become a requirement, or am I reading this totally wrong?
Those recommendations are coming from the advisory committee, and I think the concept, if I remember their discussion right, people just need to be checking their gear, and as you're going to see in a minute, they're not, and firefighters are altering their gear, so it's no longer NFPA compliant. Huge problem, and we're going to dive really deep into that here in a minute. But that recommendation is strictly that: encourage your staff to inspect their gear. There's no mandate in here that came from that committee. If you guys want to make it a mandate, that would be your call. But right now, there's no mandate.
Can I make a recommendation? Can we hear the other report before we vote on these recommendations?
Certainly. I guess we can open that up and go right to that.
Yeah.
So that would be
Might show
17.
for us.
Just need to announce that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, 16 for the report from the agency chief, and we'll jump right to that.
We'll bring you back.
Thanks, Grace. We'll get you.
To be continued.
So,
yeah, what time? Yeah. So let's take a 15-minute break, as we will probably have a longer discussion on that. Let's take a 15-minute break, a little bit more than 15. Let's come back at 10:45. We're at 10:48. Commissioners, without any objections, we will move from agenda item 14 and jump over to agenda item 16, the report from the agency chief. And Chief Wisco, without any objections, we'll just deal with this entire agenda item all at one time. Is that appropriate? Does that work for you, or do you want us to break it up and just deal with the one piece?
Cover the injury part and go back and finish that.
Sounds good. So which agenda item is it that we're going to be
I think we'll do
16
C3.
C3? So let's move to agenda item 16C3.
Report from the agency chief on the status of division functions, including compliance.
Chief Wisco.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to hand this off to our Chief of the Compliance Division, Rick Wallace. He has put a lot of time and work into about a 3-year study that's going to continue to be ongoing, but it will answer a lot of the questions you had as far as the correlation between burn injuries and the drastic increase we continue to see, and compliance violations as it relates to PPE.
And Rick, I see you've got your heavy with you.
You got the boss.
Yeah, that's right.
Without her, I don't know where, when, or how. So
Understood.
Good morning. My name's Rick Wallace. I'm with the Compliance Division here at TCFP. Alexis is going to pass out a white paper. I apologize that it didn't get into the packet. It was my fault that I didn't give it to the right people. Over the last 3 years, we've been working on a white paper, and been working with Grace, been working with TEEX, been working with state fire marshals, just so many different groups to come up with a report. And if you remember, about 5 years ago, I promised that give me some time, we'll get some numbers figured out, and then I'll get you a report. So what we did is we spent the last few years putting together a report and checking it, double checking, triple checking. And Chief Coatney, I got some real nice little graphs in there for you. So but I just have real quick, I have 3 quick slides, and then you guys can read the report. This will be posted to our website. Now that you guys have it, Alexis is going to post it to the website for everybody to see. But here's what we found out. What we found out is that over from 22 to 25, our fireground operation injuries have increased 474%. Our burn injuries have increased 137%. Our PPE and SCBA violations have increased 141%. Our major violations have increased 192%. Fire incidents, and when we use the term fire incidents, we went in and broke this down. If it wasn't burning, we didn't count it. Okay? Went from 36,762 to just under 29,000 in 2025. So what we have seen is a decrease in the number of actual working incidents across the state of Texas. Now, for full transparency, there is no mandated fire reporting in the state of Texas. Okay, so we're using numbers that we extracted from the state fire marshal's office, from NERIS, and from TexFers and INFERS, and everywhere we could find. And then we extracted the agencies that were regulated by us. So this does not include volunteer agencies across the state of Texas. This is specific to TCFP regulated entities. The positive aspect is that we went from a 77% reporting in our injury reporting to a 99% injury reporting, which is fabulous, because now we're starting to get, in 2025, we got a pretty decent picture of what we're looking at across the state of Texas. There's some really interesting things that started jumping out, though, as we were going through this report and started putting the numbers together. Okay, I think it's worth saying that we had a 16.5% growth in the number of certified people during that period of time, and we had almost a 70% increase in the number of regulated entities that we find responsible during that same period. We did norm those numbers to take into consideration that increase in percentages. Go to the next slide.
Here's what we found out. This is what started jumping out as we started looking at it. As injuries increased across the state of Texas, PPE violations increased. As our PPE violations increased, so did our burn injuries. We have an increase in reporting now, so we have a greater visibility. We're getting better pictures. So I think over the preceding years, we're going to be able to get more information, better information. I think this shows us how important it is that agencies report this stuff, so we can understand what we're doing. Okay. A reduced fire frequency has created a higher consequence per incident capita. So if you start thinking about the little triangles or the 4 areas, high risk, low frequency, we're in that right in the middle of that zone with all of this. We also found out that non-compliance with PP and SCBA is also leading to an increased cancer exposure risk across the state. And I think that's important because that folds right into the Health and Safety Committee's report. And we're talking about the increase of cancers, and we're talking about mental health and all of that. I think this is an aspect of it. And we're going to talk about organizational norming here in a minute that's going to come back to that mental health aspect. What we also learned, and I thought this was probably one of the most interesting ones, organizational complexity directly related what type of violations we were seeing. Okay. So basically what we found out was it was directly related to the size of the department. What we did is we broke it down into 3 categories. Category 1 was 1 to 100 members. And in that area, it was predominantly an administrative violation that we saw. In other words, they did not have the personnel or they didn't have the technology or the expertise to properly track or maintain policies or something like that. When we got into the 101 to 399 personnel range, it was almost equal number of physical PPE, SCBA violations, and administrative. So we were sitting just about equal at that point. But what happened is when we hit that greater than 400, that number rocketed to the top of the list for PPE, SCBA violations. And I think we can make a lot of assumptions, and I don't think we're into making assumptions. I think the problem is we need to figure out why that is, and I'll bring something up here in just a second. But that's what we found out. That's the big stuff. There's a lot more information in there. I plan on having a lot of conversations across the state of Texas and hopefully outside of the state of Texas in the coming year to talk about this white paper and talk about the logistics and the understanding of what we've got moving forward. But here's what we've learned. Number 1, as injuries go up and as burns go up, we're seeing a significant increase in PPE and SCBA violations. Increased training evolutions are not a measurement of safety improvement. It's actually just the opposite. So we think we have to turn around and take a look at how we're handling training. I've got this whole 2-hour presentation thing. Now, you guys are not going to get that, but if you have an opportunity, come, because we got to get way down in weeds about it and all of that. This next slide that we're going to do is what I hear from everybody across the state of Texas when I start talking about PPE and SCBA violations. Show me, prove it. So if you'll go to the next one, here's the proof. Here's what we see. Top left, top right. You can go on these 2 websites and buy an NFPA compliant sticker for your helmet right now today, anywhere from $20 to $30. Almost impossible to tell the difference. The hood was taken out of service during an inspection. The individual was still wearing this hood. We love the stickers that says my helmet identifies as NFPA compliant. But here's the things that are really disturbing. Look at the coat in the lower right-hand corner. This was brought in during an inspection process. The individual didn't have an opportunity to change out his outer layer before he showed up because they were on a call. Never intended for us, TCFP, to see this. That outer layer coat, if I remember right, had expired 7 years ago. But he looks cool. The helmet next to it, if you look in the corner of it, you see it says Chief. That was a helmet that was in service and was brought to us to inspect during an inspection. The red helmet. That helmet had been in service for over 25 years, but it got a brand new sticker from one of the internet sites every 8 years. Burns. You'll see the burns. The burns are skyrocketing. We pulled this one. Uh-oh, let me turn this on. We pulled this picture off of the... There we go. We pulled this off of Facebook. I love Facebook. Facebook is amazing. It tells me what's going on in every fire department in the state of Texas. And they like to send it to us, which is even better. This is directions on how to properly secure your webbing so you don't have to pull the straps, because it saves time and it saves lives. Okay. There's something in the standard that talks about form, fit, or function. I promise you, every one of us has one of those guys in our fire station so they can pull that mask on a little faster. Okay. But that creates a real issue on the rubber outside of the mask as well as the webbing. It stretches it past its limits and then it becomes non-compliant and he loses a seal over time. Okay. Let's take a look at this gentleman right here. Well, he's taking care of his respiratory protection, but he doesn't have any PPE on, and he doesn't have, he has shorts and tennis shoes. This was taken at an incident and sent to us almost in kind of like a brag. It was saying staying compliant with the commission was what the headline of it said. And then we have the gentleman up here at the top that his station wear did not include a shirt. So this is the show me portion. And this is a culture that we're trying to get away from and try to promote a safer culture. But this is what we're seeing in the state of Texas. I suspect the same thing's happening across the U.S., but our data is specific to Texas. Have some general thoughts and ideas, but I'm just going to leave you with this. We've done an exceptional job at educating the fire chiefs across the state. We've done an exceptional job with executive staff. We've done an exceptional job with getting our quartermasters. And I think they've all done a really great job of getting that gear to the people. I think where we need to focus our efforts moving forward in a compliance capacity, and I believe in 3 things when it comes to compliance: inform, educate, and then we'll enforce it. We're not informing and educating the young people coming into the fire service. We're not educating our company officers, which is our greatest asset in the fire service, to why this is a bad thing. Because these young men are seeing these guys. These young men are seeing what the instructors are doing. If they're seeing them doing it, they think it's okay. I think we have to work harder at closing that gap between executive staff that's gone and fought tirelessly with your councils and with your boards to get that $6,000 a set gear, that $12,000 air pack, to make sure it follows all the requirements. You've worked tirelessly to develop the policies and the procedures to make sure your guys are staying safe. I think where we've got to focus moving forward is on that educational piece, because they're being taught in the academies the right way to do it. But then when they show up at the firehouse, they want to be like that captain, right? They want to be like that lieutenant. Okay, those captains, lieutenants want to be like the BCs. If you've got a chief officer on the scene with a helmet like that, what's everybody else going to follow? They want to emulate those guys. Well, we've got all sorts of things that are going out there I could talk for hours about things we've seen and done, but this is the show me portion. Firefighters love show me. Don't tell me what it is. Show me what's wrong. Here's what's wrong. We got to enforce the inspection process, but we've got to educate them on the proper inspection process that they learned back in the academy. And we have to change those folks' minds that are not following it as to why we have to do this. They're shortening their career. They're endangering their families. All the things that we talk about. So that's all I've got. I'll stop babbling about that. When we move back into this one, I got a couple of folks I'd like to introduce, but we'll stick with this one right now, and I'm open to any questions that you guys might have.
Rick, this is a great report, and it really helps us. I know it's kind of been a labor of love on your part for a few years, but it certainly helps us identify what's going on in the fire service and take note. I really like the idea of the inform, educate, and then enforce. Matter of fact, I think that should be the broad statement before we make our recommendations. That should just be the header of our recommendations, because it kind of describes what we're trying to look at. So thank you for your and your team's time putting this together. And I look forward to this going out to the entire Texas Fire Service so they can see the information. I think there's high value in this.
Thank you.
I would agree with what Vice Chair Coatney just mentioned. We've had conversations even just around my area and just some of the, I believe it, some of the groups that have some gatherings and talk about firefighting. And, the idea, whether it be TCFP or NFPA, as if these two agencies are out to get them and trying to prevent them from doing their jobs well. I think if we really try to focus on that, inform and educate, and for them to understand that it's not the enforcement side of what the TCFP is trying to do. We're not trying to generate violations. We're not trying to generate income through violations. It's a matter of, it's that informing and the education piece of it. That's the tough nut to crack, though, with again, some of these, like I said, groups, when you start, and I know what you're talking about, what you see on Facebook and such. So I think that'd be a big component. I like the inform, educate, and then enforce. Chief, anything else on this, or do we want to go back?
No, I want to commend Rick and his staff. We were able to successfully add 7 more folks to compliance after the last session. That has enabled us to do a much better job. And these guys are out there getting it done every day. We were behind on inspections. We're within just a few of being caught up. We had over 90 complaints or injuries that needed to be investigated to some extent by us. That after just 10 months of having staff of investigators, we're down to less than 20. Now, that's not counting for the ones that are coming in yesterday and today that we're just getting our hands on. But there's one irony in this. 5 years ago, I sat in our meeting room at the time. We had an injury report that demonstrated that 9% of our injuries occurred on the fire ground and 37% were occurring in the firehouse. And I made the statement that in Texas, it's safer to be at a fire than it is to be at the fire station. Hats off to my brothers and sisters out there. They have proven me to be a fool, because in a short 5-year period, they have not only reversed that, they've gone to a whole nother extreme. This is not an issue of laws. This is not an issue of rules. This is an issue of compliance and common sense. I can tell you that 24 hours ago, I watched a news clip of a large metropolitan Texas fire department within 100 miles of where we sit today, at a car fire on the freeway, and 2 individuals with no PPE whatsoever, however, they did have their traffic safety vest on a booster line putting out a vehicle fire. This is 2026. When I went to the fire academy in 1987, they showed us a video of 2 guys with a tire exploding and them both getting burned because they had no PPE on. I thought we were better than that. This is starts at the top and goes all the way down. He showed you a picture of a Chiefs helmet, and he's right. This is what these guys today want to look like, and that's what they're going to emulate. And so we've got a problem from the top down. The chiefs, the departments are giving them the right gear. That's not the problem. It's what they're doing with the gear when they get it. Spray painting a face on the back of a coat, duct tape and zip ties on your mask so you can get it on quicker. I mean, it's only going to save your life if you let it. And if you change it, we're going to be talking about something different. So huge problem. And the work Rick has done here just with 3 years is really shining a light on that. And we're going to continue to do that. We're also going to continue to correlate the injury investigations with the injury report, the annual injury report, so that we can have better information going out. I guess 4 years ago now, the commissioners adopted a rule that they have to read the injury report. I think on most fronts, they look at it and they laugh at it. And the goal is to try to make the numbers bigger. Proudly, if you look at the injury report that we'll go back to in a minute, the injury numbers overall continue to decrease. But the areas we're seeing the injuries in are the most critical, and those are the burn injuries. Those continue to climb unbelievably. So we've got a problem in the Texas Fire Service, and it's our behaviors.
And to the point about the labor of love, Rick, I know this is also not popular when you're out having that conversation. So thanks for taking it on the chin at times. So I guess that'll take us back to agenda item 14 with the injury report. And we're on recommendations and grace. So taking us back to the injury report and recommendations, again, commissioners, it was on page 225, 226 of the packet.
Chairman Glenn,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wade here. I got it. Maybe two recommendations, and I don't know if they're worded perfectly, but one is to kind of modify recommendation 3 to something of the effect that, fire departments shall ensure their PPE policies are updated, enforced, and are encouraged to train and require company officers to perform daily PPE and inspections. That would be maybe one where we're asking the departments to go back and again look at their policies, ensure that they're actually enforcing it, and then work on PPE inspections, encourage that with the company officers.
Commissioner Wade, can I suggest a small change, and that's that the company officers ensure their crews do their PPE inspections?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, Commissioner Malliner, your point prior to the break was well taken, as far as, and I understood also what Chief Wisco was stating as far as what the intent is, but the wording of it, your point was well taken. So I think those are both some good ideas and ways to re-wordsmith that. So Grace, did you catch all of that?
No.
Probably not.
Okay. Is it
little bits and pieces?
Right,
But I'll
so
go back and listen to the recording.
Okay. And then I have one more, and I think where some of this, of what you're talking about is there potentially is the use of PPE, or maybe what style or things that are happening, or if they're, what they have with it. But I think there's some other things in the fire service, and it's hard to say modern fire, or modern products that are in the homes anymore. It just is what it is. To say modern, it's the legacy stuff is gone. So it's just what is in the houses and what's burning or in the buildings. And I'm not sure that all departments have updated their training, their standard operating guidelines, to address that, and maybe are still in some legacy mode within their standard operating guidelines. So I would like to recommend a 6 recommendation, such as, and I can provide you with it. And of course, if any other commissioners have a modification they would like to do, is this was kind of written down on the spot here. Fire departments should review their current fireground standard operating guidelines to ensure they are updated, take into account the latest fireground research and best practices, and educate and train their departments on any changes. And it kind of ties in the PPE, but also what we're doing, departments are doing on their incident scenes as well, to hopefully reduce some of those burn injuries and the things that we're seeing. And I think that may apply as they go out and do the training to any updated standard operating guidelines hopefully we can see some level of reduction there as well.
Sure. And so you'll catch that off the recording.
Yes,
Commissioners, are
I
y'all
will.
comfortable with, not comfortable with, but with what Commissioner Wade, as far as, because we won't have it in front of us. We need to vote on it today. Is everyone comfortable with what Commissioner Wade was identifying? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, should we include this white paper with the injury report and the report to the state fire marshal? Just because the injury report is awesome, but to me, this greatly reinforces it. I didn't get this from that, you know? I'm just saying. It's just a suggestion. I don't know if that's appropriate.
Seems appropriate to me, unless someone has a reason not to. It's also based upon some great work by our staff,
Mhm.
you know, so. Commissioners, any other recommendations? With the changes that we're suggesting, and Rick, calling you just to, with the change that we're just suggesting, do you think that addresses, is strong enough, or is enough recommendations based upon what your findings have been and what you're reporting to us? Are you comfortable with that? Okay. Commissioners, anything else? Well, commissioners, like, based upon the recommendations that you see before you and the two that we have identified from Commissioner Wade with a friendly amendment by Commissioner Malliner that Grace will capture from the recording, I'd entertain a motion to accept the injury report with those recommendations. Got a motion by Commissioner DeVillas,
Courtney, second.
second by Vice Chair Coatney, and also with, right, with the attachment. So that's correct, Commissioner, with the attachment. So any discussion? Thank you, Frank. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Show it passes unanimously. And Grace, thank you so much. And Rick, thank you also, and your team as well. Thank you all. That should take us on to agenda item 15.
Proposed rule review for the following: 37 TAC Chapter 443 Certification Curriculum Manual and 37 TAC Chapter 445 Administrative Inspections and Penalties.
Commissioners, both of these we're just continuing on our schedule of rule reviews. You'll notice at the last meeting, we didn't put any on just to take a break for a second and allow everybody time to catch up. But these are the next two on the list that need to be reviewed, and we're rapidly reaching the end of the list so we can start over.
Understood. And so the action for us is, have they been reviewed? Were
This, you're just seeing it for the first time.
so they need to go to the committee?
Do with it what you want, yeah.
Okay. Commissioners, I would entertain a motion to refer these to committee.
Commissioner Buford, so moved.
To the advisory committee?
Yes, advisory.
Got a motion to move both rules over to the advisory committee by Commissioner Buford. Is there a second?
Second by Commissioner Wade.
Second by Commissioner Wade. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Show that passes unanimously. Thank you all, and that takes us back to agenda item 16.
Report from the agency chief, including update regarding agency duties and responsibilities, decisions of the agency chief in contested cases and consent orders, status of division functions, including training, approval, and testing, certification and professional development, compliance, and information technology.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll try to keep this brief. As far as B and C go, there were no contested cases, consent orders. And on C, the division reports have been included. And then, of course, you just heard the report from compliance. I do believe we had a couple of introductions, so I would let Rick come up and make that. We have finally filled all our positions. We're full staff, which is a remarkable feat and a lot of work by a lot of people here. But Rick wanted to introduce a couple of folks.
Thank you. It's we're on a path to find our new normal now, figure out what we're going to do. It's great. We've reached full staffing and compliance. Chief Fowler is assisting with the TIFMAS operations and wasn't able to be here, but I would like to introduce a couple of his guys. If y'all will stand up. We got Ben Blanton is going to be one of our inspectors, and Jesse Wegner will be our other inspector. So that will fully put everybody back. These guys have a long, really good career in the fire service, have an excellent understanding, but more importantly, their idea or philosophy of how inspections supposed to be done align with what the agency is moving forward with. And I've already told you, I preach the 3 words, and they get sick of it. But you'll see these guys out and about. I appreciate it. Most of you guys probably already know them, so good to go. And I'll bring up Chief Keller to introduce his from the investigation section.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Steve Keller, Section Chief, Investigations. I'm happy to announce that we have 100% staffing in investigations, and really happy to announce that Megan Crumrine is our newest team member, and she began in June and has already made a tremendous impact on our program. She has a very diverse background as far as work experience that contributes to our program. She's an EMT. She's also been a medical assistant. And her and her son just recently relocated to the Austin area from the Houston area. And she also has experience as a dog trainer. And so it's not lost on me that maybe she's using some of those skills to keep my team.
It's very
in
applicable.
line.
I'm pretty sure it's pretty applicable.
And so I'd like to say welcome Megan to the Texas Commission on Fire Protection team. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Commissioners, great job by the staff. I had absolutely nothing to do with it between HR and support services and the compliance, both sides of compliance. They've hired an incredible group of folks here for the agency, and we continue to grow and get better, as hopefully as you're seeing. And I'm very pleased with who they have selected recently. The last one, I'll go back to 16A. It's an update on duties and responsibilities, but I want to spend a couple minutes. I included here just a Word document of our legislative appropriations exceptional requests. And I'm going to run through those real quick. You've got it there to read, but I just want to touch on each one. We were asked, as every state agency, to show a 3% reduction in our budget. That reduction for the Commission on Fire Protection is people. There's no way around that. We don't have any fluff in our budget. 98.2% of our budget is staff. We're at full staff. And so what we had to demonstrate was operating with 2 less folks. And so as you will see here, my number one exceptional request is the restoration of that $195,000 so we can retain our staffing at full staffing. We can't do it without the people we got. And as we continue to go through this list of 10 exceptional items, I'm asking for more people and looking forward to the opportunity to speak to that and justify it. Request number 2, we continue to creep closer and closer to our capabilities, and that is the funding model and the rider. So as you all know, we are required to generate revenue that exceeds our appropriations by $1.5 million. We're not having any problem doing that today. The fear is, as we continue to grow with the state of Texas and the Texas Fire Service, we continue adding people and equipment and expenses. We're really close to being up against the wall and not being able to accomplish that rider, that $1.5 million rider. I started walking the halls of the Capitol earlier this year. I've had a lot of very productive conversation with folks who said they can't believe that rider's still there. And I said, well, you're the ones that can make it change. I can't. But we're looking for a little relief on that. I will tell you that we are the most expensive state agency when it comes to certification fees. While there are some professional regulatory agencies out there that have certifications and licensing, no one comes anywhere close to charging what we have charged here for years. And it's all in response to the self-funding model and the rider. Neither of these are imposed on any other state agency out there. So while I cannot lobby, I will continue to inform and educate, and I will continue to beg for our stakeholders to support us in that cause. And after today, I plan to share our exceptional request list with the fire service so they can review it. Hopefully they'll get behind the ones they can support and not say anything on the ones they don't like. I think it's important for everybody to know what we're looking for.
Chief Wisco?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? If you were successful in having the rider eliminated, is there a way you can cost out what it would cost for those certifications in the future so you could share that with the stakeholder groups because they could advocate for the reduction of the rider based on that change in certification costs?
Well, so we're doing some research on that because we were informed, what's this, 26. So we were informed in 23 by our legal counsel at the time that we couldn't make changes to fees without a subsequent equal reduction or increase. We have since learned through some research that in fact is not the case. So we're gonna reevaluate that. You know what really it's going to boil down to, if they relieve us of this mandate to generate revenue of that level, I think we could certainly take a look at our fee structure and what we can do with that. But so we're going to work on what that would look like, but I don't really want to push that out. I don't want to get the cart in front of the horse on that one. I don't want to get in front of the legislature on that, but we can certainly continue to educate. And I think you all would agree and support the idea that if we're relieved of that financial obligation, we could certainly take a look at those fees and what we can do with that. Request number 3, we've added staff. We've added compliance staff. We're doing a lot more traveling out there. And while we accomplished staying within the confines of our budget for this fiscal year, we do have concern about our travel budget. So while we're working to find ways to reduce some of our travel expense, I am requesting a $40,000 increase. That would be $20,000 per fiscal year moving forward. So we can continue to go out and do what we need to do. Request number 4, and this speaks to technology, and this is always going to be a standing request for us. We need to add 2 more FTEs to our technology division. And what's driving that really is some mandates that we've gotten as far as data storage and cybersecurity duties and web modernization and things of that nature. We have a fantastic technology division. They do great work, and we continue to just pile more on them. And so they've asked for some relief in the way of 2 more folks. That request also includes funding for new equipment, new technology, new programs, things of that nature. Request number 5, and this one is to create an educational outreach division. It speaks directly to what we heard earlier from Captain Cruz on the mental health, but it's bigger than that. We've spent the last 6.5 years taking our show on the road. We're trying to get out there and talk to every aspect of the fire service. We have somebody at almost every fire service event in the state of Texas, just to be available. A friend of mine years ago coined a phrase, "Must be present to win." I think he's absolutely right, and we've tried to live by that. However, we're taking executive staff, compliance staff, and anybody else we can find at times to do this. So when we start looking at the mental health piece and hopefully being the resource for that, folks could contact us and get information about that. We really need to focus on our outreach a little more. And so we're asking for an additional 3 FTEs who would work somehow in conjunction with public information and all our divisions across the board to do more outreach, whether it's scheduling our regional meetings, manning a booth at a conference to educate folks about us. But at the same time, part of this request is in the budget, we are not allowed to spend money on promotional material, which to me is unheard of. I think it's been an oversight for years. Every other state agency, you see them at a conference or in an event, they've got all kind of trinkets and things about them for education. We're not allowed to do that in the budget. So at the same time of trying to create an outreach division, we're looking for a little relief so that we can have some funding and have some money to spend on educational material. And I think it's the right way to go, especially when you flash back a few minutes to just the compliance issues that we're seeing out there. Request number 6, Frank needs some help. We've got one attorney. Our statute allows us to have one attorney, and he's doing a yeoman's job. I spoke to all the investigations that compliance is clearing. They're doing that with Frank's help. They finish an investigation, they take it to him, make sure it's legal. I told you earlier, we haven't had any contested cases. It's a credit back to Frank and the compliance staff and everybody else. We work really hard to meet folks, to educate them, and try to find a way to work through issues. But every month we have a managers meeting, and Frank walks in with 4 pages of what he's done in the last month. And I'm not going to blame him, but a quarter of our meeting is spent on what's going on in legal, and there's just a lot, and we just need to get him some support. So that position would also be able to help out in other areas as needed if Frank doesn't pile enough work on him. But I think we're going to be able to have a position there with plenty of work to do. Request 7, I've asked for a salary increase for our staff, 10% over the 2 years. We have done something remarkable, and I hear this every time I get to the Capitol. In Article 5, which is the public safety article in the state's budget, there are 6 agencies in there. We have maintained for 4 years now the lowest turnover rate. They will tell us in hearings, they tell us in meetings. I was in one last week with Senate Finance, that our turnover rate remains to be between 4 and 5.5%. And that's unheard of in the public safety part of the budget. They run anywhere between 19 and 25%. The simple truth of that, we've got a great staff. They do great work. I try to be as nice as I can, but I never stop asking for more. And I want to reward them. I think the one way to keep a good staff here is to reward them for their service. And so I've asked for an increase for them. Request number 8. We need to continue with the replacement vehicle plan. We now have 17 vehicles on the road. We have 4 on order. We don't know when we're going to get them. I don't think we've reached the level of fire apparatus yet, but we're waiting. And as soon as we can get those, we can move some vehicles around and start taking some mileage, not off, but slowing down the miles we're putting on the vehicles. And then request number 9, this is the RTI program. So currently, we've got 600,000, and we're training. The goal is to train over 200 firefighters to be instructors for this responding to the interface program. Great success. We're already at 125. We're fixing to kick off FY27 with 4 to 5 more classes. And with some of the additional funding that we were given, we're going to go ahead and start rolling out the 16-hour classes using those instructors. So this request for 600,000 is to really dive into delivering those 16-hour classes with the instructors we have out there. I think, as the Forest Service told us earlier, the state continues to see wildfires like we haven't before. I think the need is there, and hopefully we can get some traction on that. The last one, least popular to talk about, is the standing direction from you all to keep asking for funds to increase the salary of whoever sits in my position. And so that is in there. I can tell you that through some conversation in the last couple of weeks at the Capitol, they reinforced the fact that we should always ask for salary increases for staff across the board and for executive staff. However, they evaluate that in a separate article of the budget. They look at the agency's performance. They look at what's going on at the agency, but they also do look for requests like this, and that's another box they check. So as they're talking about increases for agency directors or staff, they look and see if the agencies asked for that, and if they have, what I'm being told unofficially, it moves us up a little bit on the list. So I appreciate you all's continued support and the direction prior to the last session to make this a standing request. So it's a modest request, but I think it's in keeping with agencies of like size. That's pretty much it for the request. A big ask, keeping in mind we were asked to reduce by 3%, and we've demonstrated that. But I think it's important for us to continue to grow with the fire service out there that we're providing the service to. And, either way, we'll continue to do the best we can with what we've got. So any questions on any of that?
Commissioners? Chief, thank you.
Right.
You continue to do great work, and as I mentioned earlier, I always like the opportunity to thank our staff and appreciate our staff, and seeing the low turnover rate. It's good. It's always nice to see familiar faces, returning faces every time we come down here, that you start recognizing some of the staff. So that is good. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Takes us on to agenda item number 17.
Discussion on proposed future commission meeting date, November 12th, 2026.
Is everyone still good for Thursday, the 12th? It'd be a start time of 10 o'clock. There is no workshop scheduled.
I have a board meeting. So Commissioner Courtney, I have a Board of Regents meeting that day.
Okay.
As long as I don't have anything on the agenda there, I should be able to make, but that would take precedence for me over this meeting if
Okay.
I have something on the agenda.
Okay. So go ahead and continue with November 12th date, you think? Okay. Commissioners, anyone else? Sounds good. Let's move on. No action needed. Go to agenda item 18.
Subjects for future commission meeting agendas.
Commissioners, this will surprise you. I misspoke earlier on, agenda item 11, 439. I told you that was for, I'm sorry. I'm mistaken. Agenda item 11 was 421. That is that was a first time. That was a proposal. So while you voted to adopt it, that's only for proposal. So we will send that through the
Okay.
process to get published, and you will see that again in November.
Okay. Understood. Anything else for, is there anything for a subject for a future commission meeting agenda? Which will take us on to agenda item 19.
Executive session if necessary.
So we are going to move into executive session to consider an agenda or a legal opinion from our attorney. For those of you in the room, I can tell you this will be our last item. We will have to come out of executive session to officially adjourn the meeting. There's potentially, we may have a motion just to create a committee of the board, of the commissioners. It'd be of no consequence for you to hang around for, because it would just truly be an administrative function. More than happy to have you hang out. And I don't know that we're going to be in executive session very long, but I just want to let you know that if you don't want to hang out and wait for us to adjourn the meeting, I understand as well. So we do appreciate you being here. For those that are online, thank you. I know I got a text message from one of our members that was online and paying attention. So we thank you all for being here. And with that being said, it is 11:36 a.m. on August 20th, 2026. At this time, the commission will go into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 551.071 to consult with the agency's attorney. Under agenda item number 19, the commission's requests that all non-commissioned members leave the room except for legal counsel, Mike Wisco, Frank King, and Yazi Chavez. Thank y'all. It is 12:02 PM on August 20th, 2026, and the commission is now in open session. No action was taken in our closed session. Commissioners, I would entertain a motion for us to create a subcommittee to discuss the rules of decorum and practices for the open meetings and online access, remote access for commissioners and members of the fire service to be able to view our meetings.
So moved, Morgan.
Got a motion by Commissioner Morgan,
Second by Courtney.
second by Vice Chair Coatney. As we have a proper motion before us, this motion would allow me as the chair to appoint a committee to discuss our rules of decorum and practices for our open meetings and online access. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Let's show that passes unanimously. With that being said, I would like to appoint Commissioners Friedrich, Buford, Hamilton, and Malliner to serve the commission on this committee, with the intent of them meeting as necessary between now and our November meeting, and to be able to report back with their recommendations to us at the November meeting. Commissioners, is there anything else before us for this meeting? I would entertain a motion. Well, we need to move to, I don't want to steal your thunder.
That's
We need to move to agenda. We need to move to agenda item number 20.
Adjourn the meeting.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Commissioner Hamilton, second.
Second by Courtney.
Second by Vice Chair Coney. Any opposed? Show that one unanimous. Hey, thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.